Hey, this is Jon Reed, and welcome to my informal reading of Reaching the Informed B2B Buyer, The Case for a Different Framework, a diginomica ebook. Just a very quick context on this before I dive in. The issues raised by this book are, I think, provocative. They get to the heart of how I actually have a career in the enterprise, but they also get to the heart of breaking through the noise and making a difference to buyers, making a difference to customers, but also reckoning a bit with AI. How does AI fit into the picture? I have some strong views on that, obviously. Recently, I was having a bit of a debate with an AI author who told me that he was training AI to read his book in his voice. And I thought, maybe I would do that. And then I thought, I think I'd rather do this in my own voice. I have listened to some AI-generated audio, and I do it regularly, and some of it isn't bad. But I really wanted to nail down some of the aspects of this because there's my trademark biting humor and different things in here that I think it would be hard for a machine sometimes to deal with. My personality, so I thought, why don't I read it myself? So little did I know I was getting into a little bit of an adventure. Much respect to the audiobook recorders out there. It's not as easy as I thought it would be, and I've done a lot of podcasts, but anyhow, I'm about to record this officially. I've done a few dry runs, and this is going to be the final. And I really hope you enjoy it. I think it's going to be about 5 parts, and I'm going to release it as a podcast. I'll probably also do a longer file at some point if you want to get the whole thing. And this is really a chance to get acquainted with some of the ideas that I originally published in this PDF version, which is now an ebook, about a year ago. But I'm continuing along with more content. In fact, I'm about to publish an updated take on something I get into pretty strongly in this book around why I think relevance is more important than entertainment. But I had a little bit of a rethink on some of that, and I won't reveal that in this reading, but I'm going to update on that on Diginomica. I'll mention it a couple of times. So anyhow, you're basically just going to get the book along with a few informal asides and color commentary from me. And I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, here is Reaching the B2B Informed Buyer, The Case for a Different Framework, a diginomica ebook. It's written by me, co-founder of Diginomica, and it's edited by Barb Mosher-Zink, our digital marketing lead writer. And here's the About Diginomica part. Diginomica is the go-to tech media site for enterprise leaders who buy technology to transform how their organizations work and go to market in the digital era. Founded in 2013 by an experienced team of business technology writers, Diginomica provides rich, informed reportage and opinions based on our daily contact with buyers and practitioners. We believe that today's informed buyers demand real insight, not buzzwords. Diginomica captures their attention by delivering authoritative, thoughtful reporting and analysis that separates signal from noise with no interruptions from advertising. Diginomica ebooks provide in-depth insight and guidance on emerging topics in the field of digital transformation and digital enterprise. And that's the most boilerplate text you're going to hear in this entire book, so thanks for bearing with me. I'm going to skip the table of contents and go directly to the introduction. Reaching B2B buyers has changed, and here's why. So why do we need another approach to B2B buyers? Because the B2B buying methodologies I've encountered are all flawed. The scope of the problem has changed, and solutions to those buyers fall short. At Diginomica, we've had more than 10 years to forge a different path to B2B buyers. We rely on a different analysis of the B2B content problem, and we put forth a different method. What you're about to read is not intended to discredit other B2B buying methodologies. I have something different in mind here. My goal, present a provocative alternative, and burst a few marketing tech hype cycle balloons along the way. Virtually all B2B buyers' journeys still come down to this: awareness, consideration, decision. That doesn't cut it anymore. Why? Well, for one, because buyers aren't always buying. We're missing some crucial first steps in this so-called journey. 1. Contextual trusted networks that arm executives with the know-how and peer insights they need. 2. Awareness of relevant brands and technology, increasingly driven by the buyer's online research. 3. Consideration. 4. Buying. Thanks to the SaaS model, we can probably add step 5 as well: retention, upselling, and customer success. But that's a whole nother D-book, and you can read more on that on a D-book by Derek DePries on Diginomica. We have yet to see a buyer's journey model that starts with step 1, but that's where the majority of budget holders are. According to recent data from LinkedIn research, only 1 in 5 buyers are in buying mode at any given time. The good news? You can reach buyers in that first group with content. But here's a monster catch. It's the toughest type of content for companies to produce. Why? Because it's the least brand-centric of any content you will deliver, and it can't be authored by most marketers. Building a content-rich website helps, but only to a point. Back in 2015, when I first engaged with Gartner's Hank Barnes on this topic, he shared this vendor website wake-up call. Buyers prefer trusted independent websites for their initial research to the tune of 68%. Across the phases of the buying cycle, the sources that most impact the buying decision are A. Information and research gathering from trusted independent sites, 48%. B. Recommendations from analysts and influencers, 47%. Recommendations from associations and communities, 42%. The least influential areas across the purchasing cycle: general purpose information search, searching for information on the provider's website, and marketing content from the provider. Whoops. Pay particular attention to the last two. Today's enterprise buyers have a decent BS detector. They've had their fill of PowerPoint positioning, white papers for hire, and over-massaged messaging. Yes, content can help win their trust, but only the right type of content. Don't throw a shiny, expensive new AI toy at this particular content problem either. I'll explain why later and what AI is actually good for in this context. And don't overpay for influence. It's not working. B2B isn't Instagram. B2B buyers aren't charmed by influencers into impulse purchases. B2B influencer tactics are stale. Sponsored research rings hollower with every white paper. Instead, earn your own influence, elevate internal experts, empower them to create their own content, and forge relationships with those who truly influence enterprise buyers. Top-down targeting or bottom-up? For B2B content strategy, you need both. Does that sound different enough? In the following pages, we'll lay out how this model works and how to earn attention through content relevance. This doesn't necessarily conflict with investments in buyers' journeys, persona development, content experiences, or even AI for context. Yes, content priorities might shift, but this approach should work alongside what you're doing now, as long as you tie your content assets into a coherent narrative. This ebook is intended to provoke debate, but also to present a content method. 1. Are B2B buyers informed? Yes, in this sense, they have easy access to much more third-party information about vendors than ever before, although the state of that information is always imperfect. 2. B2B buyers conduct around 70% of their research independently of vendor interaction and/or vendor websites. They are also harder to reach with conventional branding and advertising. 3. Buying is increasingly a consensus process. Buyers rely on trusted networks inside and outside their company to make buying decisions. It's not just about reaching buyers, it's about reaching their networks. 4. There is no sales funnel in the classic sense. Buyers defy sales orchestration. That's why the buyer's journey is anything but linear. We need content resources that anticipate buyers' shifts. 5. Reaching buyers means reaching them all the time, even when they aren't buying. Buyers' shortlists stem from earned trust. Content isn't just about search and discovery. Exceptional content scales the process of earning trust beyond what individuals can do one-to-one. 6. This means you reach buyers by earning your own topic authority and becoming included and respected in their buyer networks. Needless to say, the goal of embedding yourself in enterprise communities and facilitating open conversations has big implications for the future of sales and marketing. 7. Buyers and prospects judge you by the total experience of dealing with you. Great content falls flat if the experience of dealing with you directly is a drag. 8. Reaching buyers with the right content at the right time is the proper goal. But how to do that is a subject of fierce debate, at least when I'm around. Some vendors pitch the automation of content delivery, along with investment in AI to deliver content in a real-time context. The AI for context approach has features worth incorporating, but I believe a better model is building opt-in audiences, which evolve into opt-in communities. Buyers no longer just buy software, they buy into the communities that inspire long-term confidence. So I hope you find this to be a fun, outspoken read. And if it inspires your team to question content assumptions and take bold, creative steps, then it will have been worthwhile. Executive summary. Attention can't be bought, only earned. B2B buyers might not answer the phone when your sales team calls, but they do consume content. B2B buyers read an average of 12 pieces of content before making a decision. Forrester puts the average at 11.4. B2B buyers spend 70% of their sales process online, which I've noted already. often before visiting software vendor websites. You'll find similar stats in most B2B buyer studies, so where do marketers go wrong? Organizations see those stats and think, great, we'll just design content for our main personas. We'll create content for each phase in the buyer's journey from awareness to decision. This is followed by the inevitable vendor sales pitch. Oh, and we'll spend gobs of money, strike through, invest in AI to help us do that at scale. But there are big problems with this plan of action. Start with this LinkedIn research stat. Problem 1, as I noted before, only 1 in 5 buyers are in buying mode at any given time. So how does your content make an impact on the other 4? None of the B2B buying methodologies I've seen, however modern they claim to be, address this point. Good luck luring those who are not in buying mode into a product pitch webinar. Blasting them with a supposedly intelligent, personalized how about a demo email follow-up probably won't go over well either. Problem 2. B2B buying is rarely a sole decision by one budget holder. So how do you impact all the experts and team leads inside and outside the company who influence the purchasing decision? Other buyer methodologies don't address this integral question either. So what to do? Should you just cross your fingers and throw predictive AI at these content problems? That's the pitch I hear the most. Well, good luck. You can spend enormous sums trying to contextualize and provide just the right piece of content for each visitor at any given time. It sounds sexy as hell, I grant you. But AI can't predict the buyer's shifting intent. What happens when you send the wrong content at the right time? What happens when you send the wrong content at the wrong time? I don't hear any vendors really asking that question. When you're mass marketing to consumers, you can probably get away with some annoyed email recipients. But in B2B, that annoyed recipient might be a budget holder. That's a good way to make your content delivery system appear tone deaf rather than quote-unquote intelligent. That means your brand experience, and that's in quotes also, will be judged accordingly. Reaching B2B buyers with content a different way forward. So what's the alternative? Build opt-in communities around your content instead. And oh, by the way, when you do that, you're going to have a lot better data for your AI systems to work with as well. This isn't some radical idea without enterprise ROI. In his landmark book, The Context Marketing Revolution, How to Motivate Buyers in the Age of Infinite Media, Matthew Sweezy drops some eye-watering stats about Salesforce's Trailhead community. Customers who complete the onboarding program and join the Trailblazer community, including Trailhead, buy on average twice as many Salesforce products and remain customers 4 times as long, producing significant overall increases for Salesforce in user adoption and lifetime customer value. I have a debate with Sweezy coming up later in this ebook. Nothing builds community better than the authentic content and the interactions that follow. Those communities will give your content, and any AI investments you make on top of it, much more traction. Now you have the data via audience interactions. Data you earned by gaining buyer trust before they were even in buying mode. Solving problems with content equals earning trust. That's the real origin of the buyer shortlist. Oh, and the approach I'm advocating helps with those third-party cookie changes also. Does this render AI irrelevant for content marketers? Of course not. But AI doesn't create differentiating content, at least not the kind we're talking about in this ebook. Start by creating content that blows out the sales funnel, content that builds B2B topic authority. Use your content to address difficult industry problems. Go where the industry analysts cannot go, and share those hard-won project lessons. Earn influence as you go. This approach is pretty good for online search too, something most B2B buyers still do plenty of. When I assess B2B content strategies against this model, I come to 3 key conclusions. 1, you don't have to throw out your existing content model. That's the good news. But you do need to add industry expert authority content to your content for personas mix. 2, you're probably producing too much substandard content. That's a tough love news. And it gets worse with AI because we're getting more content noise and less quality. Scale the content production back. Curb the preoccupation with marketing analytics until you have some kick-ass content to analyze. Instead, double down on the raw content materials needed to fuel your analytics and your lead gen attribution models. Make this content val. Be expertly helpful, deeply relevant, interactive, or exceptional in all the content you produce. Notice I didn't say entertain, and this was intentional, and I'll get back to that. Keep all your social media and email distribution structures, you'll need those. Even great content doesn't discover itself. 3, to drive this model, you need to get your internal experts on board, and you'll need to empower them with time and resources to push out content with impact. Your marketing team can facilitate this type of content, but they can't produce it on their own, not at scale. Over time, you might make more radical decisions on content priorities. once you see the energizing power of topic authority and content exceptionalism, but that comes later. In a distracted world of incessant smartphone pings, the hardest part isn't earning content attention, it's keeping it. The opt-in audience model is the best response to this problem. The AI for context people claim you can keep attention in a different way by delivering exactly the right piece of content at the right time via AI. That's problematic, and I'll explain why. So does that mean what I'm advocating here is easy? No, because attention is getting harder to earn and sustain. In this ebook, I address all of these problems and propose new answers by drawing on the best ideas from my multi-year Informed B2B Buyer series on Diginomica, as well as debates from a bunch of experts that I interacted with along the way. With the help of ebook editor and Diginomica lead marketing writer Barb Mosher-Zank, I share some exclusive insights on these issues from some of the best thinkers. What I've learned from these spirited debates is condensed in these pages, and I've made it as accessible as possible. So over 8 chapters, this ebook will show you how to reach the informed B2B buyer, and then how to build a productive, mutually fulfilling relationship with them.